Hey, what's up, guys? So, today I'll be telling you about the truth of steroids. Are steroids really bad? Now, in short, it's such a taboo topic, but personally, I don't think steroids are bad. However, I will be going through the points on which we consider steroids to be bad. So, first thing we notice, so the first factor on which we consider steroids to be bad are, of course, organ damage, mainly the kidney, liver, heart. Now, let me address that the liver. Now, when we consume steroids, of course, the liver has to process it, and the toxicity of the liver increases because it has to do so much work to break down the steroids, mainly orals. uh, Not much strain is put on the liver when we are using injectable cycle, so the liver it heals itself, so you can have up to 5 times the normal liver enzymes. uh, that's when you enter like dangerous territory. You can have twice the normal enzymes, twice maximum scale of normal enzymes, and you will be fine. When I ran my steroid cycle, I ran it for 6 months, injectable only. So the scale of liver enzyme maximum scale it could have was 50, and my liver enzymes were 70. Okay, it was a bit above, but in normal range, taking in consideration the drugs I was using. Another thing that steroids do is they damage the kidney. Now, kidney damage is not very common. Now, it happens mainly due to two reasons. The first is, of course, abuse over a long period of time. The second is dehydration. If you're not consuming enough water, you will surely have kidney problems. Maybe not right away, but yes, surely in the future. Now, another thing is what most people die from is heart attack. Now, what happens is steroids decrease your healthy cholesterol HDL and increases your bad cholesterol, which over time builds plaque in the arteries, which causes heart attack. Now, this happens over time, it does not happen immediately. Happens after like 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Okay, and after heavy steroid use. Now, mainly this heart problem arises from the use of growth hormone, high doses of growth hormone, and insulin use, IGF use, of course. Another thing that we another thing that we thing that comes into our mind when we talk about steroids is they are addicting. Now, I have used steroids, they are not addicting. You do feel good on them. Okay, you feel like Superman. Okay, you are 24/7 walking around with pump. And of course, death in bodybuilding never ever directly occurs from the use or abuse from steroid use. The most amount of death that has ever occurred in bodybuilding is because of diuretics and insulin use. Now, why this happens is, okay, let's take insulin into consideration. When we take insulin, our body, when if we do not provide enough carbs, our body basically goes into coma. Okay, and in the end, death occurs. Now, with diuretics, when we dehydrate the body during competition time, we have imbalance of electrolytes, uh, we have shortage of water. Uh, when we use diuretics, it draws water from everywhere inside the body, from under the skin, inside the organs. That's why death occurs in bodybuilding. Now, again, that do not occur directly from steroid use or abuse. It occurs from insulin and diuretic use, and of course GH use over a long period of time, which enlarges the heart. Okay, now taking into consideration all this kidney damage, liver damage, heart damage, alcohol, smoking does more damage than steroid do. There are more cases of people dying from smoking, which causes cancer. Alcohol, uh, alcohol, which of course damages the kidneys as well as the liver. There are way more cases than people dying from these two substances. Of course, there are other drugs out there that people use. I'm not going to talk about that. Now, talking about addiction, I don't know about other countries, but here in India, like every adult, like drinks tea all the time. Now the average Indian adult is way more addicted to drinking tea than a steroid abuse. The person who abuses steroids is addicted to using steroids. Now, the thing I also hear, okay, you are using steroids, they're illegal. Well, the government isn't getting anything out of it. Now, you drink alcohol, you smoke. Well, just because that's legal doesn't mean it's not doing you any harm. A person who uses steroids is way more healthy than the person who is consuming alcohol regularly, who is smoking, because the chances are, if you're using steroids, you are also consuming a healthy, full, complete diet. Now, other things that happens while we take steroids, well, what most people think when we take steroids is of course erectile dysfunction, ED. Now, what this means is basically your dick stops working. Now, it do not happen unless, like, when you're using certain compounds like deca at a high dose. If you overdose on deca or tren, you will have a loose erection. So you have to find a sweet spot that works for you. If you're using in, like, okay, this is my scale, I can use this much, you won't get any side effects. Now, once you have used this much, then you increase, okay, then you won't get side effects. But let's say if you're using first cycle and you for bulking, okay, you use test 200, you use deca 200, pretty basic, right? Now think about, okay, you're using test 500 and use and adding 500 milligrams of deca. Of course you're gonna have deca dick. Next thing that most people think is, well, bodybuilders are infertile, they are impotent, which is completely false. Bodybuilders, even at an old age, there are numerous cases of bodybuilders conceiving a child even after steroid abuse. Now, steroids are basically okay, consider this: a girl having sex and using an eye pill is considered responsible, taking charge, independent, but a guy using steroids for building muscle is considered a drug addict. So, like, it's biased topic. Now, coming back to fertility, when you stop using steroids, just like any drug, any anti-fertility drug, your fertility will bounce back. It may take a month. It generally takes 3 months to completely get back your sperm production, your testosterone production back to normal. Now, it may take a month. For me, it takes like 15 days. Okay. It to most extent it might take a year, but it will come back and you will conceive a child. Now, to prevent this kidney damage, you can of course take cranberry extract, stay hydrated. For liver, you can milk thistle. Do not take orals, limit the use of oral steroids. For heart, do not depend on insulin. Do not use high doses of HGH. Now when I say high doses, I'm saying above 5 or 6 unit I use. Addiction, well, as I said, alcohol, smoking and tea are way more addicting than any steroid out there. Death, again, there are more cases of people dying from alcohol, smoking than there are of people dying from steroid use or abuse. Erectile dysfunction, of again, alcohol, smoking does more damage to your penis than steroids. And of course, if you have erectile dysfunction, there are way too many drugs out in the market to overcome that. Now it's not permanent, of course. When you're on you complete your PCD, you do have down low libido for a couple of days, like 10 days. Personally for me, it's just 10 days, no matter how heavy cycle I use. Fertility, well, there are again many drugs out there for fertility purposes. Now again, acne, well, acne are normal. Some people do not experience them, some people do. There is Accutane, which is an extreme option. Doxycycline, another extreme option. Now on the less severe side, well, you can just use salicylic acid, amoxicillin, if like the things are getting out of hand. Again, do not, this is just my knowledge, my experience, what I have used, what I have researched. Do not use this personally, do not without any medical supervision. Gynecomastia, again, there are many drugs out there: Clomid, Nolvadex, Aromazin, Arimidex, Letrozole. Of course, you can discontinue the use. So, okay, that's pretty much it. So, taking into consideration all of this, steroids are no different than drinking alcohol or smoking or like drinking tea. I can guarantee, because I've done this, okay, I've done this research. I drank half a bottle of vodka and I did my liver test. My liver enzymes were like 95, and I did an oral, like I was using SARMs and I was using injectable cycle, and my liver enzymes were at that time 75. 50 was the maximum scale on the report that liver enzymes are considered medically safe. So according to that data, like alcohol put more strain on my liver than SARM and injectable cycle after 3 months of use. This was 3 months into my cycle. Okay, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you, and please share, subscribe and like the video.